It's time now to rest. Let your eyes flutter closed like a sleepy moth beneath a prairie moon. Feel your breath, slow and steady, like a lone rider crossing open land. Inhale. Let the air feel cool as it glides through your nose, like the early morning breeze rolling through cottonwood trees. You are safe here. You are still. The world is quiet now. Only the hush of wind, the distant yawn of a coyote, and the comforting crackle of a hearth somewhere not too far away. Can you hear it? The wooden logs popping softly, the hiss of embers glowing, and far off in the distance, a train horn. Low, haunting, fading. Tonight, we drift into a time long gone. A time of dust and stars, of saddle leather and silver spurs. A time called the Wild West. But this isn't the West of heroes or fast guns and gold rushes. No, this is the real West. A hard land, and a place where you might not survive even one day. So now, take one last deep breath, sink into your bedroll, like you're lying beneath a canvas of stars. And let me take you there. Our story today begins just before dawn, in a land where coyotes sing lullabies to the moon, and where the ground still holds the memory of the last storm. You wake to the chill of desert morning. The fire you made last night has long since gone out. Only a few cold coals huddle in a ring of stones. Your fingers are stiff with frost. Your mouth dry as the bone-white skulls scattered in the brush nearby. You blink against the rising sun and realize the prairie is silent. Not a bird, not a breeze. Only the slow creak of your own joints as you rise. You were told this would be simple. One day alone in the Wild West. How hard could it be? But now, with the dry wind licking your neck and the heat already climbing with the sun, you begin to understand. You walk. Your boots crunch over hard-packed earth, kicking up tiny devils of dust that swirl and vanish. The sun is a brutal overseer, white and glaring, with no clouds to temper its gaze. You thought you packed enough water. You were wrong. The canteen sloshes once, twice, then nothing. You tip it up. A single drop kisses your lip, then evaporates. Before it reaches your tongue, hours stretch like the flat horizon. You search for shade, but the only trees are thorned mesquite and brittle sagebrush, barely tall enough to hide a jackrabbit. Already, your thoughts grow slow, your tongue thick. Your sweat gone. A dangerous sign. And overhead, a buzzard circles, not once, but twice. At midday, the land ripples with heat. The dust dances in mirages, twisting shapes into ghosts and phantoms. But wait, what's that? A town? Wooden buildings, a water trough, a saloon with swinging doors creaking in the heat. You stumble toward it, boots dragging, breath shallow, vision tunneling. But as you approach, you realize the doors are broken, the buildings hollow, the signs faded and worn by time. No voices, no horses, just wind whispering through shattered glass and dry doors banging loose on their hinges. You are not saved. You are still alone. You sit by a broken post. The silence presses in. The town is dead. Just you and the wind. And then a rustle. Your eyes snap toward the sound. In the weeds, a ripple of motion. Scales, coiled muscle, a prairie rattler. Its rattle shakes, soft and sinister, like bone dice in a gambler's palm. You freeze. You are not trained for this. Not for fangs, not for venom. You hold your breath. The snake slides past you, for now. But your heart drums like hooves across an old wooden bridge. You begin to understand. Every moment here is survival. And you are not built for this world. At dusk, the desert cools. Shadows grow long. The buzzard has vanished, but new sounds rise. Crickets sing. A far-off wolf howls. and the stars begin to pierce the navy sky like cold silver pins. You sit by a dry creek bed. No fire, no food, only the ache of muscles unused to the saddle, and the emptiness of a belly that's known only dust and desperation. The wind picks up, chilly now, biting. You curl in on yourself, wrap your arms around your knees, and stare up at constellations you can no longer name. In this wild land, romance is a myth. Reality is hunger, fear, and silence. You would not survive a day, and somehow you are still here. For now, the fire's gone, the stars are high, and the prairie is once again still. Let yourself feel that stillness. Let it wrap around you like a warm blanket. You are safe now, back in your room, back in your time. The West has released you, but the dust may still cling to your dreams. The hours of night settle like ash, soft, silent, but never truly still. Beneath the deep indigo sky, a new world wakes. Tiny claws scratch at dirt. Owls glide like ghosts between twisted tree limbs. And near your camp, a low growl. You sit up, alert. Two eyes blink from the underbrush, catching a sliver of starlight, then vanish. A coyote, or maybe something more desperate. In the Wild West, hunger doesn't wear a name. It prowls. You clutch a stick useless against teeth and speed, but still, you hold it. Because fear makes anything feel like a weapon. The air smells like old leather and wood smoke. But none of it is yours. You are a guest here, an unwelcome one, and every sound becomes a whisper in your ear, reminding you that out here, the laws belong to Claw, Tooth, and Moon. Somewhere around midnight, a horse hooves slow, deliberate techo, across the dry earth. You freeze. No campfire, no light, but still, the rider comes. You hear the creak of saddle leather, the jingle of iron stirrups, the soft whistle of someone humming. And then, from the shadows, a voice, low, calm, weathered like driftwood. You lost. You can't see his face, only the shape of a wide-brimmed hat, the glint of a revolver on his hip. You nod slowly. The silence stretches. Then he chuckles. Just once. Thought so. The stranger tosses something your way. It hits the ground with a dull thud. The canteen. Full. Then, just like that, he turns his horse and disappears into the night. You sit, staring. You never hear his name. You never see his face. In the Wild West, not every ghost is dead. Dawn cracks open the sky with a ribbon of gold, and you wake, not refreshed, but alive. The air is still cool. The canteen is nearly empty now, but your head feels clearer. In the light, the land seems softer. A rabbit hops through the brush, a hawk circles above, and in the distance, maybe a river. You rise, stiff and sore, but moving. The saddle sores ache. Your lips are cracked, but something stirs in you. Not hope, but instinct. The river is real. It winds through the land like a silver ribbon. Cold, rushing, alive. You fall to your knees, cupping water in your hands, letting it spill over your cheeks, your neck. The thirst recedes. Not gone, but quieter. Here, you sit beneath a cottonwood tree, its shade wrapping around you like an old friend. You think of home, soft beds, clean sheets, water that comes from taps, not miracles. And suddenly, you understand. This world is beautiful and cruel. You are not weak. You are just born in the wrong time. A day in the Wild West is a lesson carved in bone. You've learned that the sun can punish, that silence can be loud, and that sometimes kindness wears a sick. You've learned how quickly dreams dry up when water is gone, how a single night can stretch forever, and how survival is not a movie montage, but minute after minute of aching, thirsty, terrified, living. You've learned that you wouldn't survive a day here, but you did. Barely. And even though you're going home to soft mattresses and morning coffee, something of the dust will remain in your chest. Something wild. Something old. Now, the story fades, like old wagon tracks in shifting sand. The stars above blink slower, and the desert grows quiet once more. Let yourself return. Let the weight in your chest go. Let your fingers relax. Breathe in, like wind through prairie grass. Breathe out, like the hush of hooves fading into dawn. You are safe now. Your bed is your wagon, your room, a quiet plain. Sleep, traveler. You've made it back from the frontier. Let your dreams wander there, if they must. But know this, the Wild West only invites the strong, and even then, it rarely lets them leave unchanged. Before you rise again, you find something half buried in the soil. A button. Not yours. Brass. Worn smooth by time and wind. You brush it off gently, feeling the quiet weight of it in your palm. How many passed this way before you? Was it lost in a struggle? Dropped in a hurry? A soldier? You close your hand around it, somewhere deep in the layers of this place. The soil, the bones, the windblown remains, are stories like yours. Some told, most not. Just before noon, you crest a hill, and there it is, a crooked little cabin, barely holding itself upright against the wind. Its roof has holes, its porch slants, but the door is open, and smoke curls from a leaning chimney. You approach slowly. No one comes out. No answer. Inside, it's empty, but not abandoned. A rocking chair sits still beside the hearth, where ash gathers like gray snow. On a table, a cracked tin cup, a coat hung neatly on a hook, and above the mantel, a photograph sepia-toned. A man and a woman, no smiles, just the stare of people who survive more than you ever will. You sit for a while. The silence feels sacred. You don't take anything, only warmth from the ashes, still faintly warm. And when you leave, you close the door behind you. Later, when the sun climbs highest and you nearly collapse again, you stumble upon a trail, but it is not made of hoof prints or wagon wheels. It is bones, bleached white in the sun. A cow, a deer, a man. You cannot tell. The dry West makes no apologies. It preserves. You kneel beside one cracked rib cage, and the earth speaks again. Not with words, but with a hush of wind over the grave of something once living. Your breath catches the air here, feels older than time, and for a moment, you wish you hadn't come. Toward evening, you hear it thundered at first. You're relieved. Rain. Finally. But as it grows closer, you realize this isn't the sound of a storm. It's hooves. Riders. 6 or 7 of them, kicking up dust, silhouetted against the amber sky. Their forms blur in the heat waves. But you see the glint of guns, the rise and fall of worn dusters in the wind. You dive behind a boulder, your breath still, heart thudding in your throat. Shouting, spitting, tobacco. They pass by, laughing. Their words are sharp, foreign to your ears. Bandits, lowmen, no way to know, and no way to survive them. If they had seen you, once they vanish over the ridge, you sit there for a long time, legs trembling, throat dry again. In this world, sometimes survival is just staying unseen. Your final night. Just enough. You've gone farther than anyone thought you could. You light a fire. Farther than you thought yourself. Tonight, small. The stars come out like diamonds scattered across black velvet. The flames crackle. Cedar smoke curls into the sky. You lean back on your pack and feel your muscles melt into the earth. There's no danger now. Just distance. The air hums with crickets and the soft call of a morning dove. Still awake, you think of what you'll tell people when you return. The dust, the raw truth of the wild. But no story will match the silence of this place. The things you felt, the hunger. You wouldn't survive a day. Deeper. Maybe you didn't. Maybe it was something else, something older, that survived in you. But one thing is certain, you will never see the world the same again. Morning. Real morning. You open your eyes, and it's your ceiling now. Not rolled up saddlebags. Not sky. Soft, safe, modern. Your pillow. The air. You made it back, but in your breath, still faint, is the scent of sagebrush and dry wind. The dream has faded. The dust is gone. But your spirit, it remembers. So now, let yourself rest. Deeper. Safer. Let the Wild West drift into the canyon of memory, where stories echo, but don't threaten. You are home. You are whole. You are warm. Sleep now. And if the wind howls in your dream, let it pass. It's only the West, remembering you. Inside your coat pocket, you find a folded scrap of paper, your handwriting, scrawled under moonlight the night before. You don't remember writing it, but as your fingers unfold it, you read words carved by exhaustion and something deeper. If I don't make it, tell them I tried, not for glory or gold, but to remember what it meant to earn the morning, to see the stars through the cold, to feel life, honest and heavy. You fold the paper back, not with sorrow, but respect. Because out here, even a note to no one is a kind of survival. As you travel onward, just before the next hill, you find it a small, crooked cemetery, half swallowed by the earth. Wooden crosses lean like old men. Names faded, some marked only with stones. One grave has a single boot atop it, another, a rusted horseshoe. You walk among them, slow and soft, your breath quiet so as not to disturb the stillness. These were people, just like you, dreamers, fools, wanderers, settlers, outlaws. Some survived, most did not. The wind brushes your coat like a whisper, and you nod once, as if to say, I see you. Then, you move on. Evening nears again. You find a waterhole, tucked between sunborn boulders still, surrounded by tufts of grass and lazy flies. You kneel and drink, cupping your hands like a prayer. The water tastes of stone and time, but it fills you. A rabbit drinks nearby, unbothered by your presence, and for a moment, you feel as though you belong. Not fully, but enough. The wind carries a scent of dust and wildflowers, and you close your eyes, feeling the sun on your neck and the earth beneath you, alive. Later that night, you spot movement in the distance. Lanterns, flickering, yellow and warm. Could it be a real town or another trick of the land? You approach cautiously, and yes, it is real. A one-street town, wooden buildings, a general store, a smithy, a little chapel. People move slowly under the gas-like glow. No one hurries here. No one shouts. As you walk past the saloon, someone lifts a hand and nods, not surprised to see you, not eager either, acknowledging. You spend the night on the porch of the chapel, wrapped in an old quilt someone left for you. And for the first time, you sleep without fear. Your sleep is deep. You dream of horses, of wheat fields and ghost towns, of a train disappearing into twilight. In the dream, you ride alone, but not lonely. The prairie is open, the sky vast, and you are a part of it. Not foreign, not fragile, just one more soul carried by the land. When you wake, your cheeks are wet with tears. You don't know why, only that the dream felt more real than anything else. The next day, you meet a man in a shack filled with ticking clocks. Dozens, hundreds, none telling the same time. He sits behind a counter, carving a gear from bone. When you ask him why he lives out here, he smiles without looking up. Time moves slower where the wind doesn't rush. You nod, not fully understanding, but something in his eyes is calm. You leave without saying goodbye, and later, you hear this soft tick, 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 still echoing in your coat. The road home is shorter now, not easier, but familiar. The birds sing again. Your boots no longer blister, and your steps carry rhythm. You see where you almost gave up, where you sat beneath the dead tree, where the snake coiled, where the strangers rode by, and yet you walk, stronger, slower, wiser. You no longer fear the silence. You welcome it. It's the only voice this land speaks with honesty. That night, under a crescent moon, you make camp near where it all began. But now, you don't feel like a visitor. The stars seem brighter. The fire crackles like a friend telling stories. And you lean back, hands behind your head, feeling the earth support you. Would you survive a day in the Wild West? No. You survive the story. A test. A ghost trail through time and dream. And now, you can rest. Let the fire burn low. Let the coyotes sing. Let the desert cradle you. Tomorrow, you wake home. Tonight you dream like a cowboy laid beneath stars that know your name. There's something in the wind tonight. Not just a chill, but a voice. Not words, exactly, but an old language of dust and movement and memory. It brushes your cheek, tugs at your coat, and dances around your fire. You close your eyes. Listen. It tells stories, not just of you, but of every soul that ever dared cross these plains. Wagons with iron wheels, horses too tired to neigh, children who grew old before their time. And among them, it whispers your name, not because you belong, but because, for one night, you listened. The next morning, you find yourself at the edge of a wide canyon, so vast, so deep, it makes your breath catch in your chest. You call out just to hear the echo, and the land responds. Hello, hello, hello. Your own voice, twisted by space and time, sounds different somehow. Smaller, lonelier, but still alive. You sit for a while at the edge, just watching. Somewhere far below, a river winds like a sliver of glass, too far to reach, too wild to control. Like the West itself, as you walk away from the canyon, you notice it. The complete absence of noise. No birds, no breeze, not even your footsteps. Just nothing. And in that emptiness, you feel something new. Not fear, not peace. A rare kind. The kind that only comes when the world forgets you're here. And you let it. You close your eyes. Stand still. No clocks. No voices. No demands. Just being. For the first time in your life, truly being. In the afternoon, the sun high above. You hear the distant wail of a steam train. Faint. You follow the sound across scrub and stone until you find the tracks. A silver spine cutting through the dust. You sit beside them, waiting. Eventually, it appears. Silence again. A long, iron serpent, huffing and breathing steam. It doesn't stop, but the engineer waves just once, and the cars pass you by in a wind of coal and thunder. But you smile, because now you know, not everything in the West is waiting to kill you. Some things are just passing through. Your path crosses an abandoned homestead, a broken fence, an empty well, a tree stump once used for chopping wood, and beneath the tree, a toy, a small wooden horse, hand-carved, painted with flaking blue. You pick it up, hold it in your hands. Someone once laughed here, once played, once called this place home. You feel the ghost of that joy still lingering in the air. And for a moment, you wish you'd met them. But time, like wind, moves one way, and the only footprints here are yours. That night, you find your final camp, a gentle slope beside a quiet stream. Tall grass swaying. The stars clear. You build a small fire, eat the last of your food, and stretch your legs with a sigh that says, I've done enough. Above, the moon hangs heavy and low, bright as a lantern guiding someone else home. You think of all you've seen, the thirst, the silence, the kindness of strangers, the danger behind beauty. And as your eyes close, you realize you wouldn't survive a day in the Wild West, not because you're weak, but because survival here demands surrender. And you still remember comfort. In your dream that night, you ride a horse made of smoke and stars through a desert that glows silver, over hills that hum, past rivers that whisper poems. The West doesn't fight you now. It carries you. A quiet, wordless agreement. For this one last night, you are not visitor or intruder. You are simply one of many. The next morning, your eyes open slowly. Sunlight filters through leaves. The breeze is soft and warm, and for a second, you forget where you are. Then it returns. The fire, the trail, the wind, the weight. But it doesn't scare you anymore. You stretch your legs, wipe dust from your coat, and begin your final walk. Back to now. Back to comfort. But not unchanged. Never unchanged. The trail stretches onward beneath your boots, the soil softer now. As though the land itself has grown tired of testing you. The sun still hangs above, a slow-turning coin in the endless sky. But it no longer glares with cruelty. It simply watches like an old friend, distant and silent. Each step you take hums with memory. The creak of worn leather straps. You run your fingertips along one of the petals, soft and dry, like parchment. Everything in this land blooms against the odds. The way dust settles into the creases of your fingers. You feel the weight of the world in your shoulders, but it's a familiar weight now, pale gray. You catch it in your palm and hold it to the fading light. You don't know what bird it came from. You don't need to. You unroll your blanket beside a small ridge, where the wind is blocked and the stars come early. Hands behind your head. The ground beneath you is firm, but it doesn't feel hostile anymore. It simply is. Like the stars, like your breath. You don't light a fire tonight. You want to see them clearly, the constellations, the clusters, the impossible depth of space. It belongs to the West. Now just like everything else that falls here, you've earned it. You carry the quiet with you. A jackrabbit darts across the trail, its shadow leaping beside it. Your eyes follow its movement, sharp and quick, and you pause not in fear, but in stillness. There's something sacred about the silence after movement, the way the earth resets. You kneel briefly, not to chase, not to hunt, but to observe. That's what you've learned here. That in the Wild West, the observer survives longer than the challenger. You pass a cluster of wildflowers, faded lavender and deep rust red, growing defiantly from the cracks in the stone. The sky begins to soften into orange. Shadows stretch, tall and quiet. Your body aches, but your heart is calm. You find a wide stone to sit on, brushing off the dirt, and watch the horizon. You are alone, utterly alone, but in a way that feels less like abandonment and more like freedom. Your breath slows. You let it. You listen to the wind. It's whispering again, gentler now. No warnings, no riddles, just the language of space and time. Something flutters past your phaso's single feather, caught on a breeze. Night descends, slowly, gracefully. No sudden drop, just a slow, tender folding of the world into shadow. You'll lie back. A shooting star slips across the sky so fast you almost doubt it. But it was there, and you saw it. You close your eyes, just for a moment. The stars remain behind your lids, etched in warm electric memory. Their voices in the distance, not threatening, not beckoning, just present. Like music, you walk barefoot now, and the earth feels warm beneath your soles. You come across a shallow creek, its water clear and humming with small pebbles. You step in, let it wash your feet. You laugh softly. You haven't laughed in days, but it comes easily here. Your dreams begin even before sleep takes you. It's too soft light filtering through branches above, birds singing in gentle patterns. You sit up slowly, stretch your arms, and feel no urgency. Not today. Long enough to remember who you were before the dust, a dry biscuit, a strip of jerky, but it tastes better now. Earned. You sip the last of your water, and for the first time, it doesn't taste desperate, just cool. Enough. Its branches curled like arms, reaching for something it lost long ago. You sit in its shade. Let your back rest against the bark. It doesn't creak. It doesn't crack. It simply supports you. You are walking through fields of gold, waist-high grasses tickling your arms. When you wake, it's not the danger. Today, the land is still, waiting. It drifts on the wind, and the wind accepts it. No judgment. You eat quietly. What little remains, packing slowly, deliberately. You rise and start walking again. The trail no longer feels like a test, just a direction. You hum to yourself a tune without a name. You pass an old mining cart, half buried in the earth. Rusted wheels, a single rusted lantern still hooked on its side. You touch the metal, cold, but not unfriendly. You nod to it, as if to say, you were useful once. That matters. Ahead, a lone tree stands on a hill. You stay there a long time. Long enough for a lizard to cross your boot. Long enough for a hawk to circle and leave. Eventually, you rise. Not because you must, but because now you can. Your boots find rhythm with the land. A slow, grounded gate-heel toe. Heel like the swing of a lantern on a long-forgotten night patrol. The air is drier now, but your body no longer resists it. The sting in your lips, the sun on your skin, they've become part of you, like calluses, like old songs. The grass thins, more stone now. Reddish cliffs to your right, pockmarked and ancient, like the land sees you now. Not as an intruder, but as someone who lasted long enough to be witnessed. You trace one with your eyes and find handprints, faded, painted in ochre, pressed into the cliffside long before maps, before fences, before revolvers. You place your own hand near one, not to compare, just to remember, the one you nearly forgot in the days of dust and silence. You say it aloud, softly, as if unsure it still belongs to you. The wind carries it forward, not in mockery, in agreement. You come across a fence, splintered, broken in two places. There's no house nearby, no barn, just a fence, standing for nothing now. You rest your hand on one of the rails. It gives slightly beneath your weight. You don't hurry. Let the clouds come. Let the sky shift. You don't fix it. You don't climb it. You just stand there, beside it, listening to the story it doesn't tell. Up ahead, the landscape changes again. Subtle, like the deepening of a breath. You feel watched, but not in danger. A wind picks up, not fierce, but steady. It carries the scent of distant rain. You find a rock shaped like a chair, half cradled into the hillside. You sit, leaning back, letting your muscles soften again. Your eyes scan the land. So much space, so few signs of life, but that's a lie, isn't it? There's life everywhere here. In the lizards, skittering over sun-warmed stone. In the hawk gliding silently above. In the whisper of grass, remembering when buffalo ran. You remember your name now. Time has no meaning out here, only light and breath. You close your eyes again. This time, you dream of a porch, a wide wooden porch with a creaking swing. You sit in it, wrapped in a quilt the color of sand and dusk. There's coffee old and bitter but warm, and across the dry field in front of you, horses graze under a lavender sky. Storm clouds gather in the west, slow and lumbering like cattle. You pull your coat tighter. The air grows cool. Not dangerous yet, but full of promise. You don't know whose ranch this is. You don't need to. It feels like a memory you inherited rather than lived. Then heavier drops, the kind that bead on your lashes. You tilt your face to the sky and let it wash the dust from your cheeks. It feels like absolution. A bell rings in the distance. Not a harsh bell. A soft one, the kind used to call someone in for supper. in grace. A place just wide enough to crouch in. Away from the heaviest drops, you sit, arms around your knees, and listen to the rain on the leaves above. The rhythm is hypnotic, like the ticking of an old clock slowed by memory. When you open your eyes, the real sky above is darkening. You begin walking again. The trail curves along a ridge. Below, you spot a cluster of pines, green and tall, stubborn against the dryness, as if they've come down to meet you halfway. Their needles sway gently, whispering secrets to one another. You don't intrude, just pass near. There's reverence in the way the trees stand. Eventually, the rain comes, not in violence. It begins as a mist, clinging to your shoulders, softening the edges of your vision. You laugh quiet from your belly. The sound surprises you. It's been days since you laughed. The rain turns the dirt beneath your boots to mud, but you don't slip. You know this land now. It doesn't reject you. You come across a hollowed-out tree. Inside, dry bark. You drift, not asleep, just weightless. When the storm passes, the sky glows. The clouds part like theater curtains, revealing the stars again. They seem closer now. You step out of your shelter, stretch, and begin again. And with every footfall, the ground feels less like wilderness and more like home. You walk 4 miles with the stars as your compass. There's no need for directions now, just a feeling. A pull, like the land itself wants to show you one last secret before you leave. The ground is soft and fragrant from the storm. Crushed sage, wet stone. You breathe it in like a lullaby. A smell that doesn't belong to this century and somehow belongs to you. Your thoughts drift, not forward, not back, but inward. You remember people, faces blurred by time, hands that once held yours, laughter around fires, cries behind doors, the sharp scent of coffee on a cold morning. You remember, not just with your mind, but with your skin. Because in the Wild West, memory doesn't live in photographs. It lives in scars, in wind-burnt cheeks, in the space between gunshots and gospel songs. Your path winds into a gulch. Steep walls, rich red, water trickles beside you clear, and shallow, weaving over stones. Above, bats dart like shadows with wings. They make no sound, only movement. You dip your fingers into the stream. Cold. Real. It makes you gasp softly. You cup the water, drink. It tastes like stone and root and sky, like the first sip of something you forgot you needed. At the far end of the gulch, you find a door. Not a house, just a door, standing by itself, wooden crooked, with a rusted hinge and no handle. You stare at it, not curious, just respectful, somewhere deep in your chest. You know it isn't for you. Not yet. But someone once walked through it. Maybe many did. Maybe one day you will too. You nod once to the empty frame, then keep walking. The world opens wide again. A vast plain of soft earth, dotted with scrub brush and wild grasses swaying like dancers in slow motion. The moon rises higher, big and full, silver brushed with ivory. It paints the land in dreamlight. You walk now without effort. Your feet glide, not because the road has become easier, but because you crest one last hill. And there, in the valley below, a field of fireflies. Thousands, maybe more, blinking like Morse code from the sky. Like stars that came down to play. You stand still, heart swollen with silence, with awe, with something you can't name. You step forward into them. They do not scatter. They welcome you, and as you move through them, they gather around your shoulders, your arms, your hair, until you feel made of light. You close your eyes. Let them carry your breath, and for the first time, you no longer feel like a visitor. You feel remembered. The fireflies dim slowly as you lie down on the soft ground, the night wrapping around you like a wool blanket. You place your hand over your chest, feel your heartbeat, steady, gentle, like the sound of a wagon wheel rolling through tall grass. You whispered to the sky, "I didn't survive this place, but it kept me anyway." The wind answers with a hush. You fall asleep, and somewhere between sleep and spirit, the Wild West tucks you in, not with hands, but with memory. Because now you belong to its silence, and it belongs to you. When you wake, it's not because of sound, but light, a golden thread weaving through the morning mist, spilling over the edges of the valley, touching every blade of grass like a quiet blessing. You sit up slowly. The fireflies are gone. The magic, perhaps, too. But something lingers. Your chest feels warm. Not from heat, from presence. You rise, brushing off dew, and walk again, barely disturbing the ground. You've grown quieter now, more careful, not out of fear, but out of reverence. Up ahead, a coyote sits on a boulder, watching you. It doesn't run, doesn't growl, just stares, unblinking, as if weighing your soul. You stop walking, meet its gaze. Neither of you move. Then, just as silently as it appeared, the coyote turns and trots off, vanishing into sage and shadow. You let out a breath you didn't know you were holding. Something ancient passed between you, something nameless. As the trail rises, you find a coat on a post, weathered, torn, stuffed with straw to mimic a man, a scarecrow, but not for birds. Maybe to ward off something older. Loneliness, perhaps. You nod to it, because even straw men deserve acknowledgement. Further on, you spot a tree split down the middle, charred from lightning, but still alive. Its leaves flutter weakly in the breeze, as if it's trying to prove you don't need to be whole to keep growing. You run your hand along its trunk. Rough bark, soft moss tucked in scars. You whisper, "Good work," and continue on. The sun climbs higher, not sharp now, just steady. The land flattens. The sky widens. You feel small again, but not like before. Not lost, just right-sized. You spot a wagon wheel, half buried in earth. Its spokes broken. The rim split. Someone left it, maybe in anger, maybe in grief. Maybe it just broke, and that was enough. You kneel beside it, run your fingers along the cracked wood. Once it turned, carried weight, crossed miles. Now it rests, and still, it tells a story. You rise without taking anything. You've learned not everything needs to be saved. Some things are meant to stay behind. There's a breeze now. It sings in the tall grass, curling around your ankles, pulling your coat like a child asking for your attention. You smile, a real one, because the wind no longer pushes against you. It walks with you. By late afternoon, you reach a ridge, below a river, winding blue-green through the land like a sleeping serpent. You sit at the edge of the bluff, letting your legs dangle. The water far below glimmers like glass, cracked with sunlight. You listen, and there faint, a tune, a harmonica. You don't see anyone, but the music drifts up the canyon walls, low, slow, full of ache. It's not for you. It's not a welcome. It's not a warning. It's just music. You close your eyes, let it settle inside your ribs, the way only songs without words can. You could stay here forever. Let time slip by like the river. Let the song carry you into sleep and legend. But you know better. Even dreams must move forward. Even stories need silence between chapters. So, with one last look at the curling river, you stand. Dust off your coat, shoulder your invisible pack, and begin again. The trail narrows. It weaves between tall rocks, now wine-carved in red as rusted iron. The kind of rock that has seen centuries pass and forgotten them all. They loom like sentinels, not guarding, not judging, just witnessing. You place a hand on one. It's warm from the sun and rough beneath your palm. You imagine someone else stood here once, 100 years ago, maybe more. A scout, maybe, or a runaway, or just someone like you. looking for something they couldn't name. You keep walking, and the wind returns, gentle as ever, curling between the stones and brushing the nape of your neck like a sigh. You come across a stack of stones, balanced, careful, dry. A cairn, a marker left by someone else who made it this far. You kneel, and add a single pebble. Your part, your proof. A whisper carved into earth. You don't stay long. That's the rule out here. The longer you linger, the more the desert remembers you. And some memories don't want to be remembered. The trail drops again, leading to an arroyo, where the wind whistles like a bone flute. A rabbit darts past your foot, then disappears beneath scrub. You pause, not startled, just reminded. This place is never empty, even when it seems like it. You pass a dead tree, twisted, leafless. Huff, a crow sits in its branches. Watching it tilts its head as you walk by. Doesn't caw, doesn't fly, watches. You give it a nod. There's no need for superstition now. You've lived the kind of day that makes myths irrelevant. Further ahead, the sun begins to set again, slow and rich, melting over the land like honey on a biscuit. Everything turns gold. The rocks, your skin, the wind itself. And in that light, you find a bench, not a stone, not a stump, an actual bench. Wooden, gray with age, carved with names, long forgotten. You sit, let your legs stretch out in front of you, let your shoulders drop, and for a while, you just breathe. There are no thoughts now, no questions, no what next, just this moment. Long, warm, still. The stars begin to appear, one by one, then in clusters. The moon rises. You tilt your head back, rest it against the bench. The wood is firm, but familiar, and as you sit in the starlight, you feel it again. That soft pull inward, not sleep yet, something deeper, a folding of the self, a returning. You don't resist. You let your thoughts unspool like yarn. Let them drift over memories and dust, over wind and weight, over every step that brought you here. You think about what survival means, how fragile the word sounds when spoken over fire. You didn't survive the Wild West. No, you were survived by it. You were held, tested, softened, remembered. You rise from the bench, slowly, carefully, like lifting yourself from a sacred place. One hand trails along the top of the seat. You leave no mark. And as you step forward into the night, you carry the silence with you. Not as burden, not as lesson, as companion. The road now is just the impression of footsteps, long faded, worn into the earth like forgotten hymns. You follow without thinking. Your body remembers the rhythm. Ahead, a meadow opens like a secret. Tall grass, bending in the moonlight, silver-tipped and trembling like it's trying to whisper something only the night understands. You pause at the edge, one boot resting on the threshold. There's a hush here, a reverence. Even the wind waits. You step into it slowly, gently, brushing the grass with your fingertips as you walk. It sways with you, not away from you, but with you. You're no longer a stranger, not here. You find a clearing in the center, flat, open, moon-washed. You kneel in the middle of it, hands resting on your thighs, eyes closed. Not to pray, not to ask, just to be. A howl lifts in the far distance. Long, low, lonesome. A coyote, a wolf, maybe neither. Maybe the land itself, singing its old, slow lullabies. You listen. The sound doesn't stir fear. It stirs memory, like something you once heard in your mother's heartbeat. Before clocks, before boots, before dust, you lie down in the grass. Let it hold you. Cradle your shoulders. Sigh into the folds of your spine. Above, the stars are endless. You try counting them, just for the comfort of it. 1, 2, 10, 20. And then they blur. melt into each other like lanterns seen through tears. You blink once, slow and heavy, and sleep takes you, but not like a wave, like a blanket, soft and woven with everything you've seen. The dry creek beds, the shattered wheels, the broken fences, the forgotten graves, the taste of iron in your breath, all of it, now folded into your dreaming. In your sleep, you see fire, not a blaze, not destruction. A fire in a stone cabin somewhere high in the hills. A kettle hangs above it. Steam rises in slow, elegant curls. A figure sits beside it, rocking slowly. You can't see their face, but they know you. They hum a tune. You've never heard it, but it feels older than sound. You sit beside them. They offer you a cup. You don't drink. You hold it. The warmth is enough. You both rock there for a long while, not speaking, not needing to. And when the dream ends, you feel it still in your hands. The warmth, the cup, the tune. You wake to morning again, dew cool on your brow, the grass wet against your cheek, the sky just beginning to glow. You sit up, stretch your arms, your body aches, but gently, the way an old horse might ache after a long, proud ride. You rise to your feet. Take a long breath through your nose. Let it out slow. Today is the last day. You feel it in your ribs. The quiet truth of endings. Not as sadness, as completion. You begin walking again. The trail doesn't lead this time. It follows you, like even the land has grown quiet now, listening for your next step. The hum fades gently, like smoke unraveling in a morning breeze. And the world around you this wide, yawning west, feels different now. Not because the land has changed, but because you have, where once you moved cautiously, stepping around thorns, avoiding deep dust, you now walk as though every cactus, every rock, every whisper of wind knows your name and calls it gently. You rise from the edge of the well. The old stones cool beneath your hand. The sun is higher now, not burning, but watching. You squint up at it, and for a moment, it blinks behind the clouds, as if winking at you. Up ahead, the path disappears again, swallowed by open land, but your feet find rhythm, not from knowing, but from trusting. There is a bird circling overhead, a hawk, maybe, or just a memory of one. It glides without flapping, carried by the sky. You envy it, just a little, but then you remember. You, too, are carried. Not by wings, but by story. The same story you didn't think you'd finish. The same one the land kept whispering, even when you wanted to stop listening. You pass a field of bones. Animal. Maybe not, but bleached and forgotten. Half buried beneath wind-swept grit. You don't flinch. You pause. A nod, because out here, even bones deserve remembrance. Further on, a rusted lantern hangs from a crooked wooden post. The glass is cracked, the oil long gone. Still, when the wind brushes it just right, it swings, and it sings. A faint chime, a lullaby, something small that sounds like it belongs to the dark. You smile. You've come to appreciate things like that, things that don't work anymore, but still matter. Ahead, the earth softens, and in the distance, you see a cabin. Faint smoke rising, roof slanted, one shutter missing. You walk toward it, slowly, not with hope, not with fear, just with readiness. The path is lined with sagebrush, low, aromatic. You brush your fingers through it, and the scent clings to your skin, sharp and sweet. When you reach the porch, it creaks under your step, not in protest, but in welcome. The door isn't locked, just old. You press it open. Inside, it's simple. A bed in one corner, a stove in the other, a rocking chair facing a window. Dust motes drift through the air, swirling in golden beams like lazy spirits. You sit in a chair. It fits you, as if it knew you were coming, as if someone carved it just for this moment. Through the window, the sky is softening. Not yet dusk, but close. You take off your boots, lay them beside the chair. Your feet sigh in thanks. You lean back, and for the first time, you feel it. Not peace, not safety, something older. Belonging. You are not surviving this day. You are completing it. The Wild West never asked you to conquer it. It only asks you to meet it fully. And now, you close your eyes, not to sleep yet, but to listen. Outside, a low wind rustles the dry grass. The trees sigh, a far-off coyote lets out one last call, not to warn, but to remind. The story is not over, but this chapter is, and it's ending with stillness. Then close your eyes again. Let the wind tuck you in. Let the walls creak like old lullabies. Let the west exhale. You're still here, and the story still walks with you. The room grows dim, but not cold. The last of the day's light rests softly on the floor, curling up like a cat near the hearth. You can almost hear the purring, but there's no cat, just memory. You run your hand along the arm of the rocking chair. It's smooth in some places, splintered in others. Each groove is a fingerprint of time, a lifetime of backs leaned, stories told, and eyes closed beneath it. You rock once, twice. A rhythm finds you. It's not the rhythm of horses, not the rhythm of a train, not even the wind. It's the rhythm of home. Even if just for tonight, you open your eyes slowly. Outside, the sky has deepened. Colors shift from gold to rose to lavender. Soon, it'll be blue, then indigo, then black, and you'll be wrapped in the quiet arms of stars again. You rise. Stretch. There's no clock here, but your body tells you the day is folding in. You make your way to the small stove. A kettle sits there, blackened by years, but loyal. You pour in a little water from a nearby jug. The sound of water meeting metal is comforting, like the world still knows how to soothe you. You strike a match, the brief flare of sulfur, the scent, and then flame, a soft crackle, like rain starting, or leaves whispering secrets. You place the kettle on the flame, then return to the rocking chair. It's dark enough now to light a lamp, but you don't, not yet. The dusk feels holy, and you won't break its spell. The cabin settles around you. Every beam and board feels like a rib cage, and you are the gentle breath within it. When the kettle begins to hum, you rise again. Pour the hot water into a tin cup. No tea, no sugar, just warmth. You hold it with both hands, fingers curled around its heat, and sip. It tastes like quiet, like patience, like every mile you walked to get here. You carry the cup to the bed in the corner. It's small, rough spun blanket, stuffed pillow. You sit on the edge. The bed creaks gently beneath your weight, as if sighing, "Oh, there you are." You finish your cup, place it on the wooden crate that serves as a table, and then, with a slowness born of earned rest, you lie back. Your spine meets the straw-stuffed mattress. Your head sinks into the pillow. The blanket is heavy enough to remind you you're not floating, and the world begins to blur. You stare at the ceiling. It doesn't stare back. It simply holds you. The wood above you was once a tree. It knew birds, and storms, and sky. Now, it watches you sleep. You close your eyes, and you dream of dust trails, and star maps, and voices lost in the wind, and somewhere, far away, a harmonica plays just one slow note. Long, low, and full of everything you thought you had to run from.